What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be discussing how to fix the skinny fat dilemma fast. If you're someone who is like me, who was working out properly and eating right and just not getting the results they wanted, you're not alone, because I went through this firsthand, and it was just a couple of small tweaks in the way I was working out and eating that allowed me to unlock my dream body at a way quicker speed. So again, guys, we're going to go through every single thing you need to achieve your dream body in this kind of framework. Today, we're going to be discussing the essential common mistakes that you're just not informed about and you need the right information for. Understand the realistic expectations and timelines you need to succeed these goals. And the third is a beginner-friendly model you can implement today after watching this video to get you the results you want at a 10x speed. So again, guys, thank you for watching this video today, and let's get right into it. So let's get into it, guys. A lot of people, essentially know they're eating right. They know they're working out right, but it's essentially these small little things that are holding them back to unlocking their dream potential or their dream body. And I want to break down a few of them right now. Let's start with, a few that everyone thinks, but they're not essentially doing. So let's talk about it. So guys, we have to understand we need the ability to understand what our goal is. What are we trying to do? Are we trying to shred fat? Are we trying to build muscle? Are we trying to get, bigger shoulders? Whatever your goal is, you have to realize you have to have a North Star, and you have to find ways to make simple, very simplistic benchmarks to get you there and to really allow you to get the motivation you need each and every single day to sustain this goal. And a lot of people essentially just go there without a plan, because I know throughout my journey and my endeavors when I was starting out, I would just go through the motions. I didn't have a plan, I didn't have a clear cut direction. When I had a clear cut direction, when I had short term goals that aligned with my North Star or my long term goal of what I wanted to necessarily achieve, that made the entire difference for me, because I knew every single day I was working one step closer to getting to my dream goal. Maybe it was putting on 10 to 15 pounds, maybe it was shredding 3 to 4 pounds per month. Whatever it is, guys, you have to make sure you have a clear cut plan, and you align short-term goals to long-term goals and make sure they're in the same vertical of each other. So that's a very important point that I wish someone told me those. And it's just a common mistake that people don't go in because they don't have a clear cut plan. They don't know what they're doing. Second thing, second most common mistake I see in essentially is not relying on foundational frameworks. Your technique is not right, your foundation isn't right, and you're not implementing these two elements in your workouts: time under tension and mind muscle connection. So let's talk about this, guys. The time under tension mind muscle connection is the ability to perform an exercise the right way. When you do stuff like this, it really allows you to get the full exertion of the muscle. And it relates to a method I call the 1-1-1 method. When you do all three of these things, it allows you to get the full exertion of the muscle. So that is the negative, the stagnant, and the positive. So guys, when you're performing an exercise, it's not how quick you could perform the exercise, how much momentum you can use. It's really how slow can you do it, the full extraction of the muscle, and to make sure you really feel the whole squeeze the entire way. When you do stuff like this, guys, it really allows you to essentially make sure you're building the muscle back bigger and stronger, as time progresses. And a lot of people just don't do this. So that's the mind muscle connection, and essentially the time under tension, which both of them align the same attributes. Honestly, it relies to the 1-1-1 method, and essentially the full exertion of the muscle. So guys, you should be holding for that half squeeze, for that stagnant. You should really be feeling it the entire time, and not just relying on lifting more weight or using your momentum, which are the two big things, guys. Don't focus on the weight, and don't focus on you just using your momentum to push the weight up. Focus on the time under tension. So that's the second common mistake that I see a lot of people essentially do, because they use their egos to think they could lift more. But essentially, guys, yes, if you want to lift more, that's fine, but use the right frameworks. And essentially, guys, the third one that comes down to is you're essentially just not getting enough rest, and you're not relying on the less is more principle. Guys, you only need to work out 1 hour per day. And a lot of people think they need to work out 2 to 3 hours or run double sessions every single day to get the growth. But essentially, guys, growth is in the recovery. But you have to make sure you're optimizing your workouts where you could work out for an hour and use your off days to recover, build the muscle, and to essentially get your growth at a 10x speed, because you're realizing that both these things are direct relationships with one another, and they allow you to get to your goal. So those are the common mistakes I see so many people make. And when you do stuff like this, guys, you essentially use these small tweaks to get to your end goal a lot quicker. So now let's work into the point number 2, realistic expectations. Guys, you have to realize this: when you're building muscle or shredding fat, if you're doing stuff the proper way, let's talk about building muscle. If you want a lean bulk, you should be aiming anywhere from 0.5 to 1 pound per week. So essentially 2 to 4 pounds per month. But if you're doing a standard bulk, then you just times two that, 1 to 2 pounds per week. So essentially we're at 4 to 8 pounds per month. This is, realistic guidelines. Anything over these, expectations, guys, you're going to build excess fat, or essentially you're going to lose the muscle that you already have. So please make sure you operate in those guidelines. Those are good frameworks to operationalize around and really optimize your workouts to, again, as I mentioned, your long-term goal with short-term, essentially, increments to make sure you're getting there and using every step forward to get your goal or to achieve your goal in the right steps in the right ways. So, guys, realistic expectations is huge. So, don't say you're going to gain 50 pounds in 4 months. Yes, you can gain 50 pounds in 4 months, but I promise you that weight's not going to be, built up in the right way. It's not going to go where you want to be, and your body fat percentage may increase. So, please make sure you set realistic expectations based on your goal. Even if it's for its PR, guys, make sure you set a long-term goal and short-term goals to make sure you can get there the right way. So I hope those two things alone will really change the drastic of the expectations of your workouts. Now I want to go into another part of setting realistic expectations is, guys, you have to make sure you rely on consistency as a core factor of your workouts. You're not going to see results right away, day after day, week after week. It takes months to see these results, and you have to align your expectations with your growth. You have to, you have to give or essentially cut yourself some slack, because if you're not going to, achieve a certain realistic expectation in a certain time frame, you're going to essentially create false hope, and it's just going to, create demotivating factors along the way, which is, what a lot of people do, because they set this high bar or this high goal and they don't hit it, and essentially it just makes them quit. Because I can relate to this. My first time starting the gym, I had this problem, and it really allowed me to essentially lose interest in the gym, and that's the furthest thing we want. So, guys, please set realistic expectations that align with your goal and make sure it's achievable. It's not so far out of the question like an outlier where you're going to just create false hope and false reality. So, now that we talked about those two things, guys, let's talk about a beginner friendly model you can implement today to get the results you want. So, guys, as I mentioned, what I want you guys to do is to make sure you understand your goal. Are you bulking? Are you cutting? Are you maintaining? Are you using your maintenance calories to maintain? What are you doing? Once you do that, now we're going to switch our calories to our goals. So if we're going to be in an increase or a bulk essentially and build muscle, we have to understand what our maintenance calorie is and operate in a calorie surplus. Same thing with a cut. If we're going to do the same thing for that, we're going to get our maintenance calories. We could use a TDE or BMR calculators online, and that allows us to get our maintenance calories, and then we'll operate in a deficit for in a cut. A good ballpark range for calorie wise to operate in an essential bulk. If you're doing a lean bulk, anywhere from 2 to 300 calories in addition. If you're doing a standard bulk, 5 to 600. And if you're doing a cut, I like anywhere between 2 to 300. But again, guys, modify how your body adapts to this. Once you set your foundation framework on these calories, it's not locked in. You need to make sure you adjust these because every body is different. Once you do that, guys, now we're putting together a clear-cut plan. We have our calories and we have our essential macros. So our macros, the way we're going to go about this is, guys, the biggest thing, I don't want to go into too much detail of this because I make these videos quick, short, and highly valuable. But guys, your macros, the biggest thing you should really focus on is your protein intake. Your protein intake should be anywhere from 1 gram to 1.2 grams per pound of body weight. So for example, if we weigh 170 pounds, we should be eating 170 grams of protein and maybe above if we're doing over 1 gram per pound of body weight. That's the biggest thing for your macros. And guys, your fat should be anywhere from 20 to 30%, and the rest should be your carbs. You can backfill your carbs. So once you calculate your proteins, you have your fats, and then you have your carbs after that. I'm going to make a separate video on how to actually calculate your core calories, your macros, and everything you need to do specifically to make sure you're operating in the right calorie and macro, ratios, we can call it. So again, guys, once we have that framework, we need to make sure we're complemented with our training. So guys, as I mentioned, we're going to be implementing both compound and progressive overloading. We use both of these. It gives us the ability to build muscle, lift more weight, and to essentially get our dream body at a quicker rate. And that's for building muscle. If you could use these same principles, but again, guys, make sure that your goal aligns with what you're doing. You're using the same variables. I like to use compound overloading for both, cutting and essentially bulking, but progressive overload is the ability to get stronger. So of course, I would use this more to build in muscle and not shredding fat. So it really wouldn't work with shredding fat, but it depends, guys. You could iterate and morph this towards exactly what your goals are. So guys, I hope I gave you everything you needed to create a beginner friendly guide and to give you realistic expectations and everything else in this video that allows you to do just that. It's hitting that 10-minute mark. As always, guys, I appreciate you watching that video. I hope I gave you everything you needed. And essentially, guys, I would really appreciate it. Of course, you can click that subscribe button or give that thumbs up that if you thought this video was helpful. It really allows me to see that stuff like this works for you and it's, essentially becoming a benefit on behalf of your fitness jersey to achieve your dream body. Again, guys, comment down below your favorite part of the video, as I always like to look at this to see stuff where you want to, essentially allow me to create more content on this or stuff that you like to see more. So thank you again, guys, for watching a great video on the channel, and we'll go ahead and see you in the next one.